David Smith, who is currently working as a private practice owner in Canada. So welcome,
Yes.
David.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Okay, can you explain to me first off how you first got into podiatry?
Well, it's a bit of a long story really, but I'll try and cut it short. I was in the Royal Navy for quite a few years, and then as I was coming out of the Navy, I looked at different areas. Started studying with the Open University.
Okay.
And that got me into the science and showed me I was better at biology subjects.
Okay.
So I just started looking at different careers in biology. Happened to come across a leaflet on podiatry, didn't know what it was. And that was a leaflet for Plymouth University at the time. So I went down to Plymouth University, had an interview and had a look round. Thought it could be quite a good career. And unfortunately at that time there was no NHS funding, so I couldn't really go full-time, couldn't afford to go full-time. So I carried on with the Open University, and then I got made redundant at one point, and I was then living in near Cambridge, and my wife is from Yorkshire, so we relocated up to Wakefield in Yorkshire, and mainly because of the podiatry school in Huddersfield. So that's how I became really interested in podiatry, and I was always looking a way in.
Right.
And then I found out that the NHS was funding it. I thought, this is my time.
Brilliant. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so you went through your undergraduate programme. You came out of the other end with your degree in your back pocket.
I did.
What happened next, as they say?
Well, after I graduated, I did a few locum jobs around the UK. I actually moved to Norway more or less straight after.
Wow.
Finishing the degree.
Yep.
And so I was going backwards and forwards, setting up a practice in Norway because there was no jobs for me to go to. I had to make my own.
Yep.
So I was going backwards and forwards to get coming back to the UK, doing locum work, getting some money behind me.
Yep.
Going back, doing a few, and that sort of took for about 9-10 months, I suppose.
Okay.
And then I sort of grit my teeth and said, right, we're going to do it now.
Yeah.
And managed to set up. Started with domiciliary visits.
Yeah.
Because I was in Stavanger in Norway, there was a lot of expats. So I targeted that.
Yeah.
But how I got over to Norway was on a TV program called Get a New Life.
Right. Yes.
And they took us over and showed us what was there, and that's how we got into Stavanger, and that worked out very well.
Yeah.
And so I played on that as my marketing because a lot of people knew that I was on the TV show.
Yeah.
So that really did help start it, kick it into gear. So I was pretty much lucky, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then I was there for 4 years in Norway. Unfortunately, podiatry in Norway is not as advanced as it is in the UK. So as much as your bread and butter is your nail cutting and callus removal and all that sort of stuff. It's nice to know that you might be able to get your nail surgery, your orthotics or whatever. That's coming in the door. Whereas in Norway, I didn't have that. It was just a basic. They were classed more as a beauty profession rather than it was medical. So.
Got you. Yeah.
So I was a bit frustrated with that.
Yeah.
As much as Norway, it's a beautiful country to live, nice place to live, and so laid back, and it's good fresh air, but got to be able to pay the bills as well. So
yeah, absolutely. So what happened next? What was sort of the next step then for your career?
Well, it sort of stems back to being in the UK really, because my sister, we as a family, we have children roughly the same age. Yeah. So there's always been that draw that we'd live close to each other so that children could grow up together. Yeah. But that never really materialised in the UK. So, and that's why we got a bit frustrated with that as well. That's why we moved to Norway. Yeah. Or one of the reasons. And then I happened to see a clinic for sale in Canada, Saskatchewan. And funny story really. I jokingly said to my mum that, I'm going to move to Canada now. She thought I was serious, told my sister. My sister was in the frame of mind of, well, why not? And it sort of snowballed from there. So we went over to Saskatchewan, had a look at the practice, The practice was okay. My brother-in-law couldn't get work, so we didn't go to Saskatchewan for that reason, because we wanted to move over together.
Yes.
And we happened to find a job for him in the province of Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So I started looking in Nova Scotia for any jobs or practices for sale and whatever. And I have a friend in Norway. He's a physiotherapist. He has his wife is from Nova Scotia.
Right.
His mother-in-law asked around.
Oh my goodness.
Some podiatrists that she knew.
Yeah.
This podiatrist said, "Oh yeah, there's this lady over in such a place at Bridgetown in Nova Scotia, selling up." And so it sort of just took from there, and I contacted her.
International connections.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
It's funny how things happen.
Yeah. Okay. So now you're in Canada.
I'm in Canada.
You own the practice.
Yeah. This lady brought me over and employed me for the first 2 years until I could get the funding to buy her out.
Yeah.
I bought her out about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Since I started in Canada, I've doubled the practice.
Wow.
And
Fantastic.
I have 5 different areas that I'm covering. And I've just taken on my first podiatrist 2 months ago.
Brilliant.
Which is working out very well. So she's covering quite a big area.
Yeah.
The main area of the original practice that I bought.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm covering the rest at the moment,
Yeah.
trying to build it up to employ someone else in probably 12 or 18 months' time.
Fantastic. So you've gone from sort of humble beginnings in Huddersfield
Yep.
to now being practice owner and employing people in Nova Scotia in Canada.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So if you've got, obviously you came into podiatry as a mature student.
Yes.
If you had any sort of one piece of advice for mature potential students thinking about making the leap from one career into podiatry, what advice would you give them? Don't do it?
No, definitely do it, but consider all your options.
Okay.
And think of the end goal, not what's in the first 3 years.
Okay.
Because that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
There's so much you can achieve from it.
Yeah.
Whether you want to just be working in the NHS or your own practice or whatever. So I think you've got to really look at what you want out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have your 5 and 10 year plan potentially.
Yeah. And
it can always change. It's always dynamic. So.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time. That's fantastic.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Cheers.